Today I'm going to be reviewing this 2020 Ford Fusion Titanium, talking about the features, styling, comfort, and performance, as well as providing my opinion on whether or not it's something you should add to your shopping list. Having first been introduced in 2006, the Ford Fusion has only been around for about 15 years. This model was stylishly redesigned for the 2013 model year, making it really stand out among its competition. The design was very attractive at the time, and with minimal updates, remains better looking than most vehicles in its class. The Aston Martin-inspired front end still looks sporty and premium with an updated chrome grille for 2019. The 17-inch wheels with the two-tone finish and the dual exhaust tips add to the sporty stance. Sales for midsize sedans have been tapering off for the past 5 or 10 years, making 2020 the last model year for all Ford sedans so they can focus on the increasingly popular crossovers and SUVs. However, if you really like the sleek and sporty design of a sedan, you'll want to see if the Fusion is still worth considering over a less attractive, larger alternative. The car really has a commanding presence, but you're probably wondering if the rest of the car is as good as the exterior suggests. Ford offered the 2-liter EcoBoost engine, setting it apart from its competitors. The turbocharged 4-cylinder puts out 245 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and a strong 275 pound-feet of torque at just 3,000 RPM. The transmission is a 6-speed, dating back to 2013, but it still provides smooth and comfortable shifts. With a 0 to 60 time of around 7 seconds, the powertrain has strong acceleration with exceptional low-end torque thanks to the turbocharger, which also makes the lack of additional gears less noticeable since the power band is always nearby. Acceleration around town and on the highway is very good without reaching high RPMs, making downshifts less common, resulting in a more comfortable experience for the driver and passengers. The handling is good, with a comfortable ride around sharp turns and on uneven pavement. Inspired driving is complemented by the all-wheel drive system, which is especially useful for those in snowy regions and for those of the heavy foot. Body roll is limited during various speeds, and the steering feels confident with moderate weight. Even with quick turns, there's plenty of control, and maneuvering through parking lots is easy, as to be expected with a midsize sedan. A sport mode button can be found in the shift knob, as well as paddle shifters in the steering wheel. The brake pedal provides the right amount of feedback, and the brakes are smooth and responsive. It's very comfortable to drive on road trips with heated and cooled perforated leather seats in addition to dual-zone climate control. There are plenty of seat adjustments to provide proper lumbar and thigh support, and side bolsters are sufficient for inspired cornering. The cooling function works very well, but the leather isn't very supple or luxurious and felt kinda like plastic, particularly in the steering wheel. Although, the tilting and telescoping feature makes it easy to get comfortable. Rear seat legroom is good with plenty of head, shoulder, and legroom. Road and tire noise is average, but the engine is very quiet. The 4-cylinder is surprisingly smooth without the rasp that you'd expect, although lacking a sporty sound that could be found with the V6. Visibility up front is good, but the rear visibility is somewhat limited due to the slope of the roofline, which can also make it harder for passengers to get in the back seat. Entry and exit is comfortable, and it doesn't feel like you're getting up off the ground like it does in some sedans. The 16 cubic feet of trunk space leaves plenty of room for groceries, suitcases, or golf bags. Interior quality is pretty good with no creaks or rattles. Handles, switches, and the center console area have a solid feel with mostly soft-touch rubber materials. The sporty titanium theme is carried throughout with a mixture of black materials and metal trim, and has remained remarkably modern and pleasing to look at despite its age. The shift dial is easy to use and doesn't feel cumbersome, allowing more free space in the center stack. Controls are easy to navigate with an arguably overwhelming amount of buttons on the steering wheel. USB ports can be found up front, but there's no wireless charger, although there's a nice spot up front where it seems like there would be one. The infotainment screen is easy to use with navigation, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. 2 displays on either side of the speedometer make up the blue and white themed gauge cluster. Drivers can customize displays to consist of multiple, somewhat jittery, small, and less than desirable tachometer options, fuel economy information, a digital speed display, and so on. The sound system puts out good bass, but is underwhelming for a top trim. The rear-view camera works well with predictive guidance lines but doesn't have the high resolution or multiple camera options that you'd find on newer competitors. Windshield wipers are rain sensing and there's a sunroof on this trim. The Smart Key has a high-quality finish with black and metal trim with remote start. During a mixture of extended lengths of highway, city, lots of stop and go and idling, fuel economy averaged 27 miles per gallon. While you might expect class-leading fuel economy because it's an EcoBoost, it's fair but not spectacular. When the torque curve arrives so early in the rev range, it's easy to access extra power, which will drastically reduce gas mileage. Some people expect better since it is a turbo 4-cylinder, but you have to remember that the higher performance will result in worse economy. Don't forget that there is still 245 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. With an 18-gallon fuel capacity, you can expect to get 450 to 500 miles on a single tank. Having said that, the fuel consumption is decent even when driving with a heavy foot like during my testing. Ford Copilot 360 comes standard, which includes the entire safety suite. This includes blind spot information system with cross-traffic alert, lane keeping system, auto high beams, pre-collision assist with automatic emergency braking, and adaptive cruise control. The high beams perform well and they're quick to turn off when approaching other vehicles, but the adaptive cruise control would work sporadically with random shutoffs followed by startling beeps. The EcoBoost is both good and bad depending on how you look at it. The low-end torque is particularly desirable, but when forced induction is applied to an engine, you could expect the reliability to suffer. Owners have reported problems with their engines where coolant allegedly leaks into the cylinders. In addition, owners have reported problems with the transmission causing harsh or delayed shifts, which could be equally alarming for owners. Ford offers a 3-year, 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty with a 5-year, 60,000-mile powertrain warranty, which is industry standard. If you're planning on keeping the car for a long time, consider the potential issues and possibly an extended warranty. The sticker price of this trim is about $35,000, but there are deals to be had on slightly used models with some factory warranty remaining. The torque is desirable, but by choosing a Turbo 4 over a V6 alternative, you're potentially sacrificing reliability and the better sound of a V6. The combination of sporty styling and comfort, quietness, and easy-to-drive characteristics, in addition to the great power put out by the EcoBoost, make this an enjoyable vehicle to drive. If you're looking for a stylish and sporty sedan, then you should take a look at the Fusion, but if you're someone who keeps vehicles well past the warranty expiration, you might consider looking elsewhere.